Welcome back, everyone. We're back for round 8 of FIDE Candidates 2026. This is Hikaru Nakamura versus Fabiano Caruana. Let's start with this one. So the game started with c4. Okay, Hikaru has been playing the English opening, which is a versatile system. Now c5, that's a symmetrical variation. We get knight to f3, knight c6, and now d4. I was like, yeah, I love this variation of the English, where you push the d4 pawn. Is less cagey, it's easier to play in many different variations. Okay, c takes on d4, knight takes, knight f6, knight c3, e6, normal development, bishop to f4, d5, c takes on d5, knight takes on d6, bishop goes back to d2, because you are expecting this to happen. Bishop to b4, perfect. Now you get the queen out. This is normal theory. This has been played before. And now we get a5. a5 is the new move, a novelty in the master database. Usually black plays something like this. Queen to b6. Now a3, for example, b takes on c3. The game continues. So let's go back here. a5 is played. Question. Can you take this pawn? No. Yeah, you can technically take it. That's a legal move. The problem is here you're going to see this move or this pawn hanging at different times. You give black all the initiative. All the piece activity goes for black. You are giving them a tempo to develop the bishop. Now you have to find defensive resources like, oh my god, where do I put my queen? They castle. Now you are supposed to push e4. But you still have problems of development, right? And they have finished. They are probably just finished here. The king is safe. Okay, so Hikaru knows this. He knows that he cannot really take this pawn. e4 is played. Now knight takes on c3. B takes back. Bishop to e7. Bishop to e2. And Hikaru is still in preparation. He has not spent any time. Black castles. Bishop to f4. And now it's difficult to play for black because this diagonal is being attacked. And this rook is coming to d1. So it's like, where do you put this queen exactly? Where are you going with these bishops? Right? Okay, so I was thinking about it. And this is kind of the best move. That's what was playing the game. Bishop to a6. And I think you can even play this move anyway. But Hikaru plays the best move. This is engine move also. Bishop takes, rook takes. Now you throw in rook d1, hitting the queen. Queen b6. Okay, castle. Queen b5. Hikaru avoids the threat of queens by moving to c2. Bishop to c5. Okay, c4. Queen b7. Everything is being perfect play for both sides. Bishop to e5. Queen to e7. Queen to d3. Now f6. Okay. And now bishop goes to d6, forcing this trade of pieces, right? If you don't take this bishop, then the queen is hanging or rook is hanging. So bishop has to take. Queen takes back. We get this trade of pieces. And now we enter a rook endgame that looks pretty much like a draw. Most rook endgames are a draw, not all rook endgames, right? So rook takes on e6, rook b2, rook e7. And yeah, maybe I have some prospects of pushing the e-pawn later, but it's not super clear. I think this was also excellent technique, cutting off the king, not letting entering the game. So rook a to b6, that's a good idea, doubling up the pawns, maybe forcing the threat of rooks later. And yeah, the game will be a draw. Rook to a7, that was the best move in the position, hitting this pawn, right? And also, what is my plan with white? I'm gonna bring the rook around. Rook takes on a2, okay, h3, and now we get h5. h5 is a waste of a tempo. It was the only mistake in the game for black, or the biggest mistake. Because h5, we know that my plan with white is this. I'm gonna come over and yeah, so that's kind of the problem. What you have to do is something like this. You have to double up the rooks, and now, or sorry, not like that. I'm gonna go here like this. Now you're hitting this pawn, so the rook can never enter the game, or if you enter the game like this, yeah, it's gonna be a draw anyway. Okay, h5. h5 is playing, and I know that white's coming over, right, with those plans. Rook to d1, rook to d2, but now it's too late. And I was thinking, how do you make progress with white exactly? Because you are up a tempo, but you cannot just play like this. Rook to d7, because they're gonna win the pawn. Yeah, you win the pawn here, but this is a draw. What is the difference between this and giving a check first? You give a check first, the king escapes here. In the other version, let's say you win the pawn, the king escapes the other way. The king escapes toward the center. You cannot allow that to happen with white. So I was like, whoa, this is very educational. You have to give the check first. The king escapes to the side of the board. Now rook to d7, and yeah, we have this symmetry in both sides of the board, right? But we're gonna have more space with white to maneuver our rooks. Rook takes on f2, rook takes on g7, king h8, rook to h7, another check, king to g8, and these are all good moves. What I want to do with white is rearrange them, rearrange my two rooks, put them on these two squares, so I can threaten to checkmate. Okay, rook a to g7, king f8, rook f7, king goes back. Okay, now I have forced the king into the corner. Rook g6. Okay, rook g6. I'm threatening to win this pawn. I'm threatening to play this, or even go here. I don't know. It's a lot of threats. So rook to f4. Rook goes to f6. Sorry, rook takes the pawn. Rook takes on f6. And now, yeah, this was forcing, right? You have to take the rook, otherwise this might be coming. Okay, rook takes on f6, king to g7, and white is completely winning. White is winning, but you still have to be careful. Okay, we're gonna win the pawn 4 versus 2. You still have to be careful with white. How do we make progress in this position? Black also has good ideas. Okay, I'm gonna try to stop the pawn, and my king might just be on time to stop this pawn, so it's not super clear, and I'm gonna try to push this. Hikaru goes for simplification. Rook c5. Okay, I'm hitting these two pawns. I'm hitting this and this. So you have to choose what to protect. Black chooses to protect this. Okay, I'm gonna grab this pawn. Yeah, the rook can take here, but I still have a passer. So I'm gonna go for simplification. Rook to e5, keeping an eye on the pawn. h4, king f2, activating the king. Rook c2, king f3. This is technique, right? Okay, I'm gonna win the pawn. I don't care if black wins a pawn. I still have one passer. Actually two, right? So rook to f5, rook g1, rook f4, rook a1, king g3, rook g1, and Fabi is not resigning. He knows this is resignable, but okay, you're still on the board. Hikaru can go crazy at any time. Rook e1 check, king d4, rook a1, rook a5, okay, rook h1, now rook f3, protecting the pawn, rook a1 again, h4, finally making progress. Now rook a4 check, king e5, now you can even hide here, rook a5, okay, the king hides, rook h5, okay, we have to protect king h4, king rook e5, we have to protect that pawn as well. Yeah, everything is protected now. King h6, and black cannot defend everything. King f3, okay, I'm protecting these two pawns with the rook, and I'm gonna try to make progress here. King g6, king e3, rook a5, okay, rook g4 check, king f6, rook g5. This trade of rooks will be convenient because I still have the passer. That doesn't happen, but okay, rook a1. This is also good technique, right? Even though black is losing, what black has to do is try to get us away as much as possible, give checks from the distance if that is possible, and then not allow the pawns to advance. But yeah, 2 pawns is too much. Okay, now rook f5 check, king g6, and now h5. Black cannot stop the 2 pawns, king g6, and after e5, black resign, Fabi resign, and Hikaru is back. At least he has his first win in this tournament. All right, so let's move on to the second game. Alright guys, so this is the second game of this video. I'm actually recording first because Hikaru's games is taking longer. So we start the game with d4. This is Anish Giri versus Praggnanandhaa. Knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight to c3, d takes on c4, e4. These are normal moves. Here we can also play something like e3. But it was an interesting line which I wasn't familiar with. So e4, and now the bishop usually comes out here. But in this variation, Prag decides to push the pawn here to b5. So here we can take a pawn, but then this pawn is hanging. And it's an equal game still, but it's like, why did you push this pawn? So we have to push this pawn early. But after b5, sorry, we can push e5. Okay, now the knight moves, and we recover the pawn now. Knight takes on b5, knight goes to b6, putting pressure on this pawn. Let's go to bishop to e2. This is normal theory, has been played before. Bishop to e7, castle and castle. a4, and then the first novelty for the game, okay, a4, and then now we want to push a5, right? So normally, white can play something like b3, c takes on b3, queen takes. Knight to a3 is the first novelty of the game. We have the same idea to push the pawn. Okay, so after we get c5, we're kicking out the knight, and now the knight cannot protect this square anymore, so we're gonna win this pawn. Okay, knight goes to d5, we win the pawn, queen takes on a5, okay, rerouting of the knight, queen b6 is alright, b takes on d5, getting rid of this knight, e takes on d5, and we're gonna see a terror of pieces in the center. After bishop to b7, bishop to g5, bishop takes, knight takes. Okay, and now a great move is to kick out the knight. I don't know why it's great, it just makes sense. Now d takes on c5, queen takes, and this is what I was I was focusing on this earlier on, because after knight to c6, Anish Giri, sorry, he offers the terror of knights. Knight takes on d4, knight takes, and it seems seamless, but this knight is a monster, right? Versus the bad bishop, or it doesn't look bad, but now it's being blocked by his own pawn. So in terms of pawn structure, white is doing slightly better. And yeah, we check with the computer, it is 0.3, 0.4, 0.6 depending on the engine. Bishop to c8, queen to d2, trying to improve the bishop, right? Rook to b8, rook to c1, kicking the queen has to be moved, b3, bishop to d7, we get more moves, h3, rook to c8, rook d1, avoiding the trade of pieces, rook c5, okay, keeping an eye on the pawn, king to h2, a5, f4, and here comes the first inaccuracy in the whole game, which is f6. So it's not even a huge mistake. Yeah, the rest was perfect play. Queen c7 is the best move in the position, kind of stopping the pawns, also keeping an eye on this king. Okay, so rook to e1 comes next, trying to support this pawn. Rook to e8, rook to e2 with a clear plan. They're gonna double up the pawns. So f takes on e5, f takes on e5, queen c7, and now white accomplishes this goal of doubling up the rooks, trying to support the pawn. Right, it's a simple plan. a4, b takes on e4, bishop takes, and now king h1. The second mistake, or biggest mistake of the game, queen to f7. Queen to f7 allows this pawn push, right? e6, that's what happens in the game. The best move, according to the computer, is to, wait a second, just to play bishop to b5. Bishop to b5, hitting this, and if you take here, okay, you have removed one of the most here. Okay, I'm happy with black, because now I don't have to deal with this monster of the knight, of a pony. So it's not a pony anymore, right? e6, now queen to g6, rook to f2, rook to c4, rook to f4, h5. H5 is shown to be like an inaccuracy, a mistake. Let me see what you're supposed to do. I don't know. Let's check. Okay, sorry guys. So h5 is supposed to be an accuracy. What the computer is saying king h7, but it's still passive, right? There is no counterplay, no good counterplay for black, because everything is tied down to kind of hitting this knight, protecting this pawn, or keeping an eye on the pawn. And yeah, it's terrible. It's a terrible position to play for black. Okay, queen to f2, bishop to c2, e7, keep pushing the pawn, bishop to e4, and now this bishop has a good outpost, right? It's also defending this diagonal, attacking this. So this is the most important piece. Rook to f8, check, king h7, rook takes on e8, queen takes, and now again, I want to emphasize this bishop. So it was like, okay, who is better, this outpost or this outpost? I'm gonna get rid of this. Rook takes on e4. This is a brilliant move. Let me see if I can add the emoji here. Okay, rook takes on e4, and once this happens, then queen to f5, check, Praggnanandhaa resign on the spot. Yeah, there is nothing to be done. For example, black can play something like g6 to protect, offering the threat of queens now. Rook c1 check, king h2, rook c8, knight to e6, and now after this happens, we can even promote here to a queen, and yeah, this is completely winning with an extra piece. And yeah, this pawn, you can also add on time here to stop the pawn. So yeah, this is completely losing for black. Okay guys, these are the standings as of now, and Hikaru has moved up 2 or 3 positions after this win, so he's in 4th place, following Anish, Giri and Fabiano Caruana, but in the lead is still Sindarov. Okay, the standings as of now in the women's section is 4.5 for 4 people, but Anna Mosichuk is still playing her game against Divya, so let's see how that goes. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. Please comment, like and subscribe. I will see you in the next round, and take care.